caring for our family.
I said, oh, oh, oh,
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2025 horror sequel Final Destination Bloodlines. The film is directed by Zach Lipovsky and Adam B. Stein, and it stars Caitlin Santawana, Theo Briones, Raya Kilstedt, Richard Harmon, Owen Patrick Joya, and Tony Todd, which I believe sadly is his last role before he passed away. Right, okay, this is the sixth in the Final Destination franchise, and the first one since 2011, I think. And I should know that because I've only just reviewed Final Destination 5 on the channel. This time round, it goes for a little bit of a different spin on the tried and tested Final Destination formula. We meet Stefani. And she's having horrific nightmares of a disaster in the 1960s where many, many people died, including, strangely to her, grandma, Iris. She can't get this dream out of her head. It's affecting her grades. She goes and seeks out family. None of them want anything to do with this Iris now. She claims she's a bit of a batty old woman. She seeks her out, and she basically discovers that back in the 60s, her grandma Iris had a premonition, saved many, many lives, and since that day, death has been preying on her. So she's lived a very, very isolated life and tried to kind of keep herself safe. However, she's discovered over the years that death has been tracking down the families of all the people she saved who should never have existed, and been taking them out as well. Hence, that is the connection to the previous Final Destination films. Right, what are my thoughts on Final Destination Bloodlines? Well, I think it would be easy for us to kind of think that they were going to release a Final Destination film using the tried and tested formula that has been used for the previous 5 films. However, why we might be expecting for them to deliver like a lazy sequel and just kind of cash in, they have actually put some effort into this film. I think this film is smartly written. It fits brilliantly into the franchise. It offers something new. And it delivers some of the most brutal kills in the franchise overall, as far as I'm concerned, anyway. And this franchise has always been known for that. You know, the brutality of the kills. It's next level in this one. I mean, it really, really is. But very, very entertaining. Now, I love the idea of this. The idea that you know, we get to see like the origin really of how this all started from the first film. You know, this whole sequence at the beginning in the 1960s, I just thought was outstanding. It was probably right up there with my favourite part of this film, but probably all the others as well. I thought it was brilliantly done, very, very clever, and like I say, offered a different spin on it. And I really, really enjoyed it. It was quite a long sequence, but it worked for me, and it was just, you know, it was intense, it was brutal, and then, you know, it kind of starts going down a more familiar route then, in a sense of taking out her family, you know, Iris's family. When that road opens up to death, their numbers, you know, basically they're in line then to be taken out once death gets that opportunity. So while it does go down that sort of familiar route, it's almost like personal for death, this one, in a lot of ways, because, you know, Iris is the one that kind of started it all. And it just, for me, the formula really worked. I found this highly entertaining, this one. This is probably my favourite Final Destination. Maybe since the first. I think so. I think this was very, very well done, and I personally was expecting like a bit of a lazy cash grab kind of thing, and I was very, very impressed with the effort that went into this, and I just loved as well. I mean, Tony Todd, God rest his soul, he probably has his best cameo in this one. I mean, I think he's appeared in all of them before, briefly for the most part, whereas he gets some lineage to his character here. His character makes sense with the storyline that they give him here. And it worked just brilliantly, and it was incredibly respectful to him, in my opinion. And I loved his part in this film. I thought it was sewn into the fabric of the franchise, whereas before he'd just kind of pop up as this coroner sort of thing, you know what I mean? And it was a bit spooky and a bit, and early on in the franchise, people were like, is he deaf? Whereas now you get all the answers as to who he is and what his connection is to all of these movies. And I just thought it was very, very smartly written. I think effort has gone into this to kind of make it make as much sense as they can. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are questions. It does raise questions. If you actually sit and think about it afterwards, you'd be kind of thinking, well, hang on. If she knew that, why did she not do this? Blah, 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 blah. Because she's got this big, thick book. She's been following Death's antics ever since, really, that she obviously clocked on that something was going on here. So, yeah, I mean, it really, really kind of worked for me. I enjoyed most of the characters. Sometimes I find the characters in the Final Destination films are hard to like, some of them. I don't recall disliking any of them here. I mean, there's a couple of them that are fairly unmemorable, I suppose. But overall, I kind of was invested in all these characters. And it felt sad almost that, when they got taken out. So the brutality of the kills were even more affecting when you watch them. So yeah, I mean, you get them trying to try certain techniques that have been used in the other films, like, if you if you die and then come back to life, then, you kind of gazump it, or if you take somebody else's life, then you get the time that they had left. But we've also seen in other films that that's not true. Because anybody that's kind of tried to cheat death by using techniques like that, at the end of the film, they've been taken out anyway. So there's never really been a tried and tested way of cheating death in any of these films. It's kind of, that's it. It's signed, sealed, and delivered. If you're on death's list, you're on death's list. And the only way around it is the way that Iris found in this film, which was almost like the Jamie Lee Curtis approach to life in Halloween 2018, locking yourself away into almost like a fortress to try and keep yourself safe from death, and reading all the signs so that death can't get you. And that's the only way, really, that I've seen in these films where anyone's had any chance of kind of beating it, sort of thing. So, yeah, I thought this was a strong sequel. I would be very, very interested to see more now if they're going to put the same kind of effort in. I mean, my worry is, that this does quite well, and then they're kind of like, right, let's start the franchise up again, and then they just churn out sequels that just do exactly the same thing as the sequels to the original Final Destination. And, I think there's scope here to do something a little bit more interesting, to really explore the franchise a little bit. They could even try different time periods. I think the beginning of this film, set in the 60s, was so well done. I mean, they could even do like a Final Destination, I don't know, in like World War II or something. Where a soldier has a premonition, saves his platoon's lives, and then boom, they start getting taken out. I mean, it's endless, really, the possibilities, and I really do think they could explore this and do something different. So I hope they do, but I doubt that they will. I think they'll just be probably cheap cash grabs going forward. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this one. I found it very, very entertaining. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you like this review. I'll be back with plenty more content on the channel very, very soon.